For a couple minutes. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for August 23rd, 2022. Q is basically flat on the day, 0.08. All right, and SPY down 0.25%. Okay, coming into today, all right, we still have room lower, I think. Okay, but we are potentially on the daily here gonna get a buy setup. We talked about it yesterday, over a previous day's high. Okay, that would trigger the buy setup. So if this market has bottomed here, okay, if we have bottomed, then expect the buy setup to work. Okay, but if we move up tomorrow, we take out today's high, and then by the end of the week or whatever, soon next week, we fail. We take out basically today's low, then all out bearish. So it's kind of really do or die for the market as far as I'm concerned, as far and showing the bullishness. Now, we could get a really deep pullback and then bounce without actually making new lows. That's all possible. But I think if we pull back any deeper, it's going to be a while before we make a move back up to where we were. Okay. So what I'm saying is that the trend that we put in since the beginning or mid-July is being tested now on the daily. Okay. And if we don't bounce, then expect lower. And then if we do transition from there, it's going to take a while. Okay, it's going to be another kind of process similar to what it took, right? Remember, we were in this downtrend, and then took almost 3 weeks there of going sideways before getting the rally that we just had. All right, throughout July and August. Okay, so right now it's kind of a pivotal time. Okay. If we break back below today's high, either tomorrow, I don't suspect tomorrow will be another inside day. I guess it could. But if we break above a previous day's high, then that would be the time to be bullish. If that doesn't hold, then watch out below. Okay, so that's kind of the plan right now. So a little bit of flexibility in the bias, a little bit different than what we've had as we had this hourly trend higher with the daily grinding higher. You know, pretty straightforward. We just follow that. If it breaks, then we'll look for the pullback. We did get that break on Friday, right? And then since then we've been coming in. Now we've come into some support, right? And so and what I want to see is what is the bounce made of? What kind of bounce we're going to get? If it's a pretty weak bounce, then yeah, the uptrend is over for the recent move up. Okay, so that is the plan for tomorrow. We're staying bearish until we break above today's high, or if it ends up being like on Thursday, we break above like maybe tomorrow's high, just once we trigger that buy setup. Okay, I did add the 40 here just to point out we are into the buy zone. We don't reference this too often here. But we are coming into, it's just the area between a rising 20 and a rising 40. Okay, so it is kind of in an interesting area where potentially we could get a buy setup. Okay, that's really what I'm watching for. All right, Qs and SPY both. All right. All right, let's go over plays from today. So I'm going to start with the Boar. The Boar actually ended up giving me a hard time. I played this long. You can see it did finish up as a green bar. Now, the gap didn't quite clear, so I think that aspect of it was probably a little bit too aggressive on my part. I don't think today we had a very good caps list. But I did play this, gave this kind of a 5-minute, 15-minute pullback here. Did give you numbers for it on this Boar. But I didn't take anything on this new high. I was looking for more, maybe something closer to the top of the base up here, something closer to 416, 420 maybe. thought this might get going and just came all the way back in and didn't work on the boar. So, that was a little bit disappointing to start things off. The boar gave me a little bit of a hard time because it was looking good. It just never quite got to my target. And then on the AVYA, I think this AVYA, and this will happen sometimes, the boar, I stuck with management. The AVYA, because of what happened on the boar, and it's really just one play, but sometimes one play will affect you more than another play for whatever reason. And that's what I think happened a little bit today because similar kind of setup actually. Played the AVYA on a pullback again. Okay, so pulled back, 20 MA curling up underneath. This one actually was up over 2 Rs, and so I was out half of it, and then started to come back in, and I decided to trail it to this pivot here. Okay, so underneath that pivot. Stop was supposed to be down here, 98. So, after having given back on the boar, it made me trail this one a little bit too tight. So while I was supposed to stick with this as the stop, I ended up killing it as it was coming back in underneath that pivot, and I never would have taken out the stop, and you can see where it closed. Even ran up to retest the highs. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes that happens. I try not to let it, but it's month to month. I don't stick to the plan 100%. I don't expect myself to. I'm gonna want to make adjustments and deviate from plans most of the time, but there is a reason that the plan is the plan, and that's because it's based on tracking that says that's what is gonna the longer term is gonna perform the best. So if I had just kind of let that back half play out, would have done about an R better. A little bit disappointed about that I let kind of the boar, the way that the boar played out, influence the next play. So something you always have to kind of be careful of. Some days it's just more tempting to make those changes or get influenced that way than others. I don't really know why. Some days it is, some day it isn't, but that's kind of what happened today. So not too, I think, thrilled about the way that I traded, but at least locked in this as a winner. But that was kind of, I think, part of the motivation for raising the trail to basically break even is to not give back any on the back half. And sometimes this thing will keep on going, and I'll be glad that I trailed, but for the most part, you want to try and stick to the management plan, and then if adjustments need to be made, then make the adjustments. Try not to make them on the fly, or in the heat of the moment just do something kind of out of the plan or out of the ordinary. So anyway, maybe that's something that you've seen yourself kind of make that mistake as well, but it's always good to be aware of it and try to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. Yeah, does that make sense? All right. So we'll see what the market wants to do going into the rest of this week, because we do have this pullback. What kind of support are we going to see? Is this market going to basically set this setup here inside the buy zone, or will it fail? That's really the main focus here. Okay? All right. Hope you had a nice day today. We will be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.